Okay, I'm back. Now I just have to get the rest of you back. Now it seems to me that if I use this, good. Okay. Now that's what it looks like on YouTube, and I still have that muted. Okay, we're going. Crap. Okay, got it. Join. Take me there. This page. Live. Hello, everybody. I don't really know if this is working or not. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to copy what I've done. I'm going to go over to here. 98. Invite. Okay. So what I've done is I've reposted the invites. So, and it's called something like a quiet invite. What's that? I need noise. Okay, next is I'm going over to my page, my YouTube page, my channel. That's the word I'm looking for, channel. And in the top, I am putting, that's the link to get onto, link you into panel. Okay, I've just posted that, and that is supposed to link you into the channel. And I'm going back over events. Okay, yeah, now I'm going back over to the live event. Okay, now I'm back at the live event, and I'm waiting for you guys to join me, or I will just talk. Okay, sorry for the confusion, everybody. I guess when the host loses the internet connection, then everybody just gets dumped out of the Hangout. Okay, so I'm going to talk. Yeah, because I do that well. At some point, not very long ago, I put together a list of helpful for when you're starting to do the RV thing. And I'm telling you, these are really basic things. In your, you know, we all have those blocks that you put in your freezer, and you freeze them and you put them in lunch boxes and then you take them to go. We all have those things. And if not, you go to the dollar store, and I think it's 2 for $1. You freeze those things in your conventional in your house residential refrigerator, and then when you're starting your refrigerator up, it really helps. You put those things in there, obviously, a couple of them, and then it helps your refrigerator to become colder faster. Not to mention, having are really kind of a necessity for if you get hot. I always throw one in my backpack just to keep my back cool while I'm walking. And, you know, but it feels good while it's not, and I don't have water dripping all over me. And of course, if I'm going to pack any kind of food items, I can do it in that. And I use them in the Suzuki when I take off in the Suzuki to keep things cold. That way I'm not like fighting ice and the dripping ice. But anyway, those cold pack things, I have the hard plastic ones. The soft ones, I know I've used those in the past, but I've gotten holes in them, and then that stuff drips out. And what is that stuff? I don't know. Okay, but anyway, it is also convenient, if you can do this, is to freeze as many things as you can for your refrigerator. If you want to have a pint or a quart of milk, freeze it in your conventional residential refrigerator. Just freeze it and then let it thaw out gradually while it is cooling your refrigerator at the same time. Same thing with butter. You know, if you take butter. Oh, I see you.
Okay.
You're on.
Is this live?
This is live.
Okay, the other girls are coming.
Okay. I put the link in. I've been just, you know, talking away. Did you hear me talking?
Yeah, I can hear you. I saw you talking, and I said, I think she's got this other window, but we were in a different one by ourselves, and it was off air, so we all hung up, and they should be here shortly.
And then I opened up this new window.
Okay.
So this is where we're. But I was waiting for you guys, so I decided I could just talk until you guys showed up. So that's what I've been doing. These are my helpful hints. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, why don't you talk about your juicing?
Oh, okay. I did buy a juicer, and it's right there. It's right over my shoulder, right there on the counter.
What kind is it?
It is I don't know. I think it cost me like $60 or maybe $50 or $60. I bought it Fry's, and it's called hold on, let me go get that. And it actually works really well. I used it I've used it twice. I used it this morning and then this afternoon. There. Okay, got it. Okay, good thing I put pants on. It is called a Bella.
Okay.
That's backwards, I know. It is a 5-speed digital juice station. Ooh. And it has recipes in here, like one would require recipes. But basically, it is very similar to the juicer that I had in brick and mortar house that I left. But it's a little smaller, and I'll tell you what's kind of nice about this for RVers is it has such suction cups on the bottom of it.
Oh, nice.
So it doesn't slide around. I was like, what's wrong with this? Why isn't it moving? Suction cups. Fabulous. But basically, it's, you know, the same components as any other juicer that you've ever used. And there are all the little components. Can you see those?
Yep.
Yeah. All the little components that we're all used to. I think that's in French, it is. And it does a fabulous job on the juice. I throw, you know, I don't cut up really anything. I snap the carrots in half and shove it in there and, you know, and let it do its thing. Same with the apples. If I don't have to cut them, I just put them in. And now we got Adele back. Hello, Adele. There she is. And then whatever else I'm adding in there, if it fits in that round hole, I shove it in whole. And I buy all organic. The spinach that I buy is always the baby spinach, and it's the organic. And I think I buy a big container of it, and I want to say that it indicates that it's been washed 3 times, maybe twice. But anyway, they wash it and then package it so you don't get a bunch of dirt and sand, which is really nice.
Right.
And hey, Day Drifter, I see ya. And
I was buying my baby spinach in a big 2.5-pound bag at Costco for $4.50, and I think it says on the bag too that it's all pre-washed and
right.
Yeah.
Well, they have to pre-wash it because they raise spinach in a real kind of sandy dirt.
Okay.
And, so they have to really wash it very well. And but I always buy the organic because I am consuming it raw. So I'll spend the extra whatever for, and I've had the Costco one. It's okay. I
Yeah.
don't remember them having baby spinach. I remember them having a big bag of spinach. And that was very nice because it lasted me about 4 days. So that was pretty cool. These tubs that I buy, they're like, tubs. They pretty much 3 days at most. Because I jam the spinach down in there. I jam it and
So
jam
do
it.
I.
And I mean, that's the thing that I want the most is the spinach.
Yep.
Usually I'll put in one apple, and I always buy the bag of apples. I know they're $4.99, and I know that there's a variety of different apples in there. So you got your Granny Smiths, you got your Macintoshes, you got your Galas, the Fijis. So if I don't feel like having sweet, I can have like a Granny Smith or,
I usually do one of each. I do a Gala and a Granny Smith. I like the two that balance out.
sour thing.
Did you say what the brand was?
On what?
Of the juicer, what your brand is?
Oh, yeah. It's called a Bella.
Okay.
No idea what their reach is, but Fry's is an electronics store. Basically, I was in there trying to fix the thing, and so I went into Fry's, and lo and behold, I walked over to where they had their small appliances, and they had a juicer on sale, this one, and it was, I want to say it was either $49.95, which doesn't sound right, or it was $59.95. So it was either $50 or $60.
Yeah.
And and that's okay with me. I'm willing to pay $50 or $60. They had juicers. I mean, I looked at the ones for $125, but I didn't see any remarkable difference between the $50 one and the $125 one. I really didn't see it. This said it was 1,000 watts, and the ones that were more expensive didn't have their how many watts they were on the packaging that I could see. So I didn't really want any surprises. 1,000 watts, I think, that's okay for my generator.
Oh.
And that's what I'm thinking is, in order for me to juice when I'm not hooked up to 30 amps, I've got to turn on the generator.
Yeah.
This won't run off.
That makes sense.
So I want, and so that should deliver enough power to run the juicer when I am, boondocking. So, and these are the things that you're considering when you're buying appliances is, how many watts is it and what's it going to suck up, and do I need to run the generator or can I run it off the battery or.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check mine because I have the Breville, and I've done both of them. I've done the one that's just the one piece, and then the one I have now is where it shoots it off, the garbage off to the side into a separate bucket. It's like the next step up. And I didn't really feel like the next step up was really worth the money. It wasn't easier to clean. It didn't make it easier for the extra $50. So if I replace it, I'm going to go back to the first one that I had.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this. It isn't very loud. It does have a variety of settings so that if you're doing soft fruits or vegetables, I'm not really sure why I care. I mean, it's juice, so I don't care how fast or slow the extraction cycle is. But, maybe I'll figure that out if I ever read the book, which I'll probably never read the book. But what is spinach? Is that a soft thing? I don't want to think about it. I just want to shove it all in there, put it on the maximum power, and give me some juice.
That's what I do. Yep. Well, I like the juicing. I did it last fall, and I incorporated juicing into my diet, so I wasn't just strictly juicing.
Right.
And so I was watching what I was eating. I had cut coffee out of my diet because I'm really terrible with the creamer, and that's where the calories are. And then I was walking 3 to 4 miles in the morning, and then I'd walk 3 to 4 miles at night with my husband.
Yeah.
So I was exercising, juicing, and watching my food intake. I lost 20 pounds.
Wow.
But then over the winter, I put it back on again because I quit everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that this whole RV lifestyle, getting in the nicer weather and not having winter to deal with, you know, snow on the ground, ice on the ground, I'm hoping I can get back to it and it'll become it'll just be my lifestyle again.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's really what my problem is and why I've put on, you know, well, when I broke my arm and my shoulder last year, that was not helpful.
Yeah.
And because basically all you can do is sit around and stuff your face and work. So that's pretty much what I did. But as it improved, and it took a year for it to get to the point where it didn't hurt me, and that I could raise my hand or my arm up over my head and it wasn't excruciating. But my mistake has been I have let the hot weather of this area, which I'm not used to, keep me sitting down.
Yep.
And it's the only time you can really move around is early in the morning or late at night. And you know, I don't want to say anything bad about this park where I'm at, but let me say something bad about this park where I'm at.
Don't go out at night.
Oh, it's pedophile. I mean, they've got sex offenders here like crazy.
Oh.
And you know, now I've looked them all up, of course, Megan's law, and you know, I've looked them all up to see what their infractions or, you know, whatever their thing was. But I feel like I'm gossiping. But there's one that lives right across.
Hey, it's public records.
But there are pedophiles. So, you know, I don't meet their, you know, age criteria. So I'm not really worried about them. But this isn't like the greatest part of town ever, but you can't beat the price. You know, I don't remember what it was, but I thought it was really cheap, but what do I know? But back to the juicer and the dieting thing, it is really, really important to keep your body in good shape when you're an RVer. There is there is climbing. You're climbing every day in and out of the RV. You're ducking and climbing and reaching, and you know, you really do have to stay in some kind of physical shape in order to enjoy this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you're carrying things and you're going up and down stairs and doing things.
Getting on the roof.
On the roof, on a ladder. Yeah. And
Not me. I don't get on the roof.
Yeah, you know, heights have never bothered me, and you know, when I fell off the roof, it was just, you know, the ladder went and I went down. You know, the ladder went one way and I went directly down onto concrete, and so, you know, it just happened. I can't tell you how many times I've been up and down the ladder before I fell. And actually, my son-in-law's fault. Let me just say this for the record. It's his fault because he was saying, you know, you're going to fall off that ladder one of these days. And honestly, about 15 minutes after he said it, I fell off a damn ladder. I was so mad at him, but I made him drive me into the emergency room. He was like, I'll stay with you now. I want you to Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay. Now, I was saying before that when you are initially starting your refrigerator for your eventual life of RVing, is that there are things that you can do to help your refrigerator out, and that is, you know, the plastic freezer blocks that we all have.
Yeah.
Do we all have those? Yes, we all have them. Freeze those in your home, and then put them in your freezer or in your refrigerator as you're loading your refrigerator with things, and it makes it easier on your refrigerator unit
Yeah.
because things are already cold. If, like what I did was, and what I still do is, I freeze my milk. I like to have milk. I buy a quart of milk. It lasts me for a month. So I split that in two. I freeze half and I leave the other half in the refrigerator. And then when I am running low on the one in the refrigerator, I just pull the other one down and it's frozen. Same with my butter. I freeze my butter. You know, a pound of butter is going to last me a really long time. I've been out here for whatever, 2 months, a month and a half, something like that. And I've used half a stick of butter. So, and because I only use butter when I eat fish.
Yeah.
The other thing is, but I mean, freeze as many things as you can so that your refrigerator doesn't have to work so hard. And I don't know that all refrigerators are the same. Like, you know, the Class C's, when you're driving down the road, is the propane keeping everything in your refrigerator cold? Or is it running off the battery? Or how does it stay cold? Anybody?
Well, mine switches over to propane when I unplug from the electric.
Okay, so does mine.
Or I can manually do it and just put it on propane, period. So it just depends on which way I set it up. But it would be on propane while I'm going down the road.
Yeah. Okay. Because a lot of the manuals say do not have your propane valve when traveling down the road.
Right.
And and it also says when you're getting fuel, you know, gasoline, that you're supposed to turn off your propane when you're pumping gasoline or
Yes.
diesel.
We do that. We do turn it off when we go get gas.
You shut it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do too.
Okay.
And there's also
Okay, I don't.
and there's places on the East Coast that it'll tell you turn your propane off when you're going into tunnels.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Well, basically, they don't want it to explode.
Sure.
But if you have those frozen blocks and you need to turn off your the frozen blocks and they're keeping your stuff cold. I don't know. It's just a suggestion. And I'll tell you what I forgot was an ice cube tray. I don't have an ice maker in Patches. I don't know why I didn't outfit her with one.
Oh, speaking of ice maker, I just bought one.
Where'd you get it?
I don't really have.
It's a little portable one. I got it on Amazon. It's a Ivation, 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 and I love it. I use a lot of ice. I love it because you can make just as much as you want because the freezers are real small in the RVs. Yeah. I can make as little as I want or as much as I want. So
how much did it cost? Is it a 12-volt jamming?
No, it's a plug-in.
It is a plug-in?
Yeah, it's electric.
Size-wise, like how much space does it take up like on a counter?
I'll walk in the house and show you guys while we're talking.
Because in the van, I'm not going to have a refrigerator at all. I'm just going to have a cooler. But if I had a little ice maker, that'd be great.
Oh, I love this thing.
That would absolutely be ideal.
Yeah.
A great idea. You know, dry ice is kind of nice to use too in a cooler.
You know, I have to have everything really, really simple. When you just said you'd have to turn your propane off for the RV, I was like, that's why I have a van that has nothing.
I don't turn the propane off. It's bad. I know I'm going to blow up some gas station somewhere. But it never even occurs to me.
Same thing with the furnace. You're supposed to shut the furnace or the refrigerator off.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I turn off the propane, then shut off my refrigerator.
We just started doing that because our Class C is it's 16 years old.
Okay.
When we first started out, we never. Oh, there she is with her ice maker. Yeah. That's nice.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Jamming so we can see you bigger.
back up back up the camera. There you go.
There.
Oh, am I too big? Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
It doesn't take up much room at all.
Wow.
And then I'll show you the ice cubes. They're so darn cute. Okay, so I make a little tub, you know, as much as I want or need. There we go. Get some light on. And
Yeah.
they're like that.
Oh
They're
yeah.
like a hailstone.
Yeah.
In like what
there you
amount of
go.
time?
They make
Yeah, they're nice and soft.
yeah, they're soft when they come out and they're kind of wet when they come out because of the way they're made.
Yeah.
But then I stick them in the freezer right away and then they're fine. But they are still a little on the soft side unless you put them in the freezer and they get hard from the freezer. But takes about I'm sorry?
What's the smallest amount you can make?
9.
9 cubes.
9.
Is that a cup of water or what?
So what you do, whoops, I'm sorry, that slammed in your ear. Okay, so what you do is you fill this, you take the little bucket out, you put water down here, and then can you see those little silver things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes the ice cube. It fills up with water, and they freeze around those little rods.
Okay.
And there's 9 rods in there, so it makes 9 ice cubes
Wow.
in about 15 minutes.
In 15 minutes?
Yeah.
That's great. Let's make some ice cubes right now.
And so I just make as much as I need for a day or two.
That would be good because my freezer is very small. I could handle like 18 ice cubes. That would be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, small. I have other stuff in there, not just ice. And I don't really use ice that much. So I like everything room temperature. I'm really boring.
I used to be like that.
Either when the thing is turned off, I could just be making my ice cubes and just keep it
Yeah,
cool.
there is nothing nicer than coming back from a hike or whatever in the hot and come back to ice. Yeah, it's nice. But for the rest of us who don't have an electric ice maker, don't forget to bring an ice cube tray.
Well, the only reason that I chose not to do the ice trays, because I have done those in the past, is because then you got water moving around in the trays, so you have to sit still until they freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
So
that's exactly what I do, and then I put them in a plastic bag.
Yeah.
And then I've got a tray of ice if anybody ever comes over and says, "Can I get ice with that?" And I say, "Yeah, at a bar." Okay. The other thing is, it really requires a lot of discipline to be a full-time RVer. It really does. And I'm pretty disciplined, except when it comes to food. But I'm pretty disciplined as far as make it, clean it, put it away, and it just really doesn't take long for the space, and it doesn't matter how big or small your space is. It just doesn't take very long for it to just become clutter and a mess.
Right.
You just don't want that to happen. I make sure before I go to bed every night that my trash is out of here because I am not going to wake up to rodents ever. And so I take my trash out every night, and that everything's put away where it's supposed to be, so that when I wake up all groggy in the morning or whatever, I know where everything is. I don't have to say, "Oh, gee, when did I last use that?" It's not like at your house where you can just leave stuff out for days and days and days. Everything has to have its place and be in it, or you'll never find it again. I've lost a lot of things, and I know it must be somewhere. I don't know where I've put them. And one of them is a bag of cookies that I would really like to have. Okay.
Those non-existent mice got them.
They're unopened, unless those mice can open them. But But the discipline thing starts from the moment you say to yourself, I'm going to be a full-time RVer.
Yeah.
And you have to carry that through your brick and mortar life on into your RV. It's not something you want to start when you like get in your RV, because that won't work. You know, because you are who you are. If you don't establish these habits of putting things away, or making sure that everything's in its place and everything fits and things are square and blah, 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 drive yourself crazy.
That being the case, Miss RV Lady, I am in deep, deep trouble.
And I can vouch for that. I've been in her house. She's got bolts and bolts and bolts of thread.
Wow.
Thread everywhere.
And fabric and fleece and yarn and paint and projects
Yeah.
everywhere.
Sounds
In like 2 rooms. She's got all kinds of projects, and yeah, it's something where you're going to want to start when you're starting to minimalize and get rid of things. You're going to want to move the things you want to keep into your RV, unless you're using them in your house, obviously. But you know, and start getting organized before you actually get in. I thought I was really, really super organized until I started living this way.
Yeah.
It's a whole new game when you're rolling down the road. And yeah, that pen was just there, and now it's gone, and that's my favorite pen. Where is it? And you know, and I still haven't found it. It's my favorite pen, and I know it's in this RV. And it could be something where it fell down in that little part, the little step before you get out the door, and I opened the door and it fell out, and I'll probably never see it again. Or it's somewhere in this RV. But your things will find little nooks and crannies to hide in, and then you can't ever find them again.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about.
You know, obviously.
That's what I'm worried about, RV Lady, is just all the little things like your memory card for your camera, or you know, these little headphones, and just all the little stuff that you have to have, but you don't always use every minute of the day, but they're on your table making clutter.
Right. And those are all the things that you have to figure out for you. What is logical?
Yeah.
You know, what's the logical place for that to be? And that's where I ran into the shoe organizers.
That's
you know,
what
I started using those shoe organizers, and to put things in, like I have a little stapler that's like this big. But do I need that stapler? Yes, you bet I do. I have that. I know exactly where it is, in which pouch it's in, on that shoe rack organizer thing. And the staples are with it. You know, it's like thumbtacks, and I mean, these are just things that you just take for granted. Thumbtacks, rubber bands.
Yeah.
Just the little things that, you know, once every 6 months you're going to need a rubber band, and you're going to be out in the middle of nowhere, but you really need a rubber band. And you know, it's being able to figure out, okay, if I can't use a rubber band, then what can I use?
Yeah.
Well, what's that going to be? You know, so you have to really think of all the applications one item can do.
Yeah.
You know, is it a water bottle, or can it also hold hair conditioner? You know, you really have to think of all the things that you can do with the things that you're bringing along. And the other thing, too, is, you know, a lot of you aren't going places for long periods of time where you're not going to have a grocery store or a hardware store or something. Let them be your storage. Let them do all the storing of your stuff. And then you just go in and get it when you need it. And I find that that helps keep me organized, because I was trying to bring everything. You know,
Walmart is your friend. Right?
What?
Walmart is your friend.
Walmart is probably not your friend, but it's not America's friend. But Yeah, they have the stuff that you need, and they're everywhere until they kick you out in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you do have experience with that, don't you, Miss RV lady?
well, just so I'm one for one. I had one night at a Walmart and went okay, and then the next time it was, I thought I had crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, but what do I know? But let those places store your stuff for you. I mean, obviously bring a hammer, but you don't have to bring every nail you've ever owned, like I was trying to do. I didn't need to bring every screw that I thought that I would ever possibly need, but I was trying to bring it. And then I realized, for $1.49, I can go into Ace Hardware and pick up a couple of screws, and that will be enough. So, and it's hard to leave. I've already paid for that stuff. So it's hard for me to leave that because I'm like, well, I've already paid for that. Why should I go spend the $1.49 when I've already got it right here?
Mm-hmm.
That's my problem.
Yeah, it was a huge problem for me. And but you just have to change your habits and let go occasionally. And the other thing is, and if any of you have watched my channel, you've seen that I've had more than my share of trouble, mostly brought on by myself. But you have to be prepared for the unexpected. You have to be prepared for sitting by the side of the road waiting for AAA to come and get you. You have to, and it's not really hard to actually do that because you're in your house. Yeah. So that makes it real nice. But you have to also have an alternative plan to, okay, my RV's broken down. That's my house. They're going to take my house and lock it in a garage for 2 days. And where am I going to live in the interim? Yeah. So you have to have a plan for that. Whether it's go to a cheap hotel or, like me, I planned for this scenario and have my backpack, my tent. I have a little cooler that's really not worth anything, but I have things that I can go and set up camp and have the Suzuki as a travel mechanism. If somebody had to, like if those guys wanted to keep my key patches because of the transmission.
Right.
But most people are understanding, and I'm real forthcoming about saying this is my home. What you're asking me to do is give up my home.
Yeah.
So.
Aren't most places accommodating for that though? Like mechanics that they'll let you like park in the parking lot overnight?
No. Like the first guy that I went to for the transmission, he was going to start it on Friday. If he didn't get it done, he was locking it up for Saturday and Sunday and was going to restart working on it on Monday. Okay? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like he was going to leave it parked out in the parking lot because he was in a area that didn't permit that. Everything had to be put away at night for those businesses. They couldn't leave like cars or whatever sitting outside. So he was going to take my vehicle and put it inside. A lot of places like that will not because of liability for shop. Oh, Kipper, you're so funny. You couldn't have just said that out loud.
He's cleaning
the liability is an issue. If they let you park on their property and something happens to you, it's a liability issue for them. So the second guy, the guy that actually did the work on the transmission, he was nice enough to say, if we can't get this done today, you can stay here. You can stay on the property. And I said, well, that's okay because you're going to lock the gate and whatever. I'll just leave the RV and take the tent. And he goes, oh, no, we live here. And I was like, oh, okay. And there were 2 houses that I wasn't seeing way off from the shop, basically where they lived. So they said, no, we don't lock the gate. You just have to push it. But, fortunately, I didn't have to do that. So it worked out really well. What's next on my list? I've been meaning to share this with you guys for so long. Anticipate and prepare. Let the stores, calendar and time. Yeah, calendar and time. What you're going to know is what time it is, and you're probably going to know what date it is, but you're not going to know what day of the week it is. And that's one thing I have a huge problem with, and Kipper can attest to this. Yesterday I put out a video, and I said, see you all later at the RV1 Hangout. And Kipper was the only one who wrote back to me to say, wait a minute, isn't it on Sunday?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking yesterday was Sunday. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I work in the future, and so I had to come back to the present in order to, figure out where I was. But the days of the week, knowing what day of the week it is very helpful.
Yeah.
Because for a full-time RVer, especially if you're driving your RV, you don't want to go during high traffic times anywhere. You don't want to have to go to any of the stores to go shopping when everybody else is there.
Yeah.
Because you're always thinking about parking and you're always thinking about turning around.
Yeah.
And so those two things make it so that you really have to pay attention to what day of the week it is. And I was thrilled yesterday when I found out it was only Saturday. I was thrilled. I was like, oh, great, I got something to do. So if you can find a calendar that, it's kind of late in the year now, but for those of you who are going to travel next year, get a calendar that shows you what day of the week it is. It doesn't matter what time it is, and it doesn't matter what the date is. It matters is it Monday or is it Tuesday? Oh, it's Sunday? Oh, okay. And then there's the use and reuse. And for those of you who are traveling through California, I don't know about other states, but in California, in some areas like San Diego County, many of the grocery stores will charge you if you don't bring your own bags in to get your groceries. So they'll charge you, and they'll give you paper, and they'll charge you $0.10 per bag. Okay, which is insane, but basically they've eliminated the plastic bags in most of San Diego County, and I believe in LA County as well.
Yeah, when I was in Newport Beach and Costa Mesa, when I went with my daughter Monica and First of May, we had plastic bags in the RV that we were using for different things, and then we were at a park, and Monica noticed, she goes, they don't have plastic bags here. I felt like we had contraband or something that we brought into the state.
It does make you feel like you're carrying contraband. Now, I've been keeping my bags into, not the plastic bags, but I, bought bags that I can throw in the washer. And I've been taking those into grocery stores for a long time.
Yeah.
And, it makes you kind of feel like you're shoplifting at first, because what I used to do is open the bags, and then as I was shopping, I'd put the stuff in the bags, so I know when to stop. And I felt like I was shoplifting, but I needed to know how much stuff I could put in the bags and not go there and have them say, because they look at you with such disdain. Oh, well, you'll have to purchase bags, ma'am.
Yeah.
Like, you're such a loser because you have to buy bags. But anyway, you're really going to want to pay attention to grocery stores, and you might as well get used to carrying in your own bags. These plastic bags are stupid, and we have other good uses for them, like, lining our trash cans. That's what I use them for. I line my trash cans with them. Or, when you work with a paintbrush, or, you're painting, or what I'm going to be doing up on the roof, instead of washing those things out, I'm just going to put them in a plastic bag and see for a couple of days in there. And that's what I use those bags for. And then you don't have to, and I'm that kind of person. I never wash the brushes out. I just throw them away when I'm finished using them. I'm so horrible. One side of me is so great, and the other side of me is so, ugh. Okay, but you're also going to have... The other thing that you have to do is you have to realize that everything has to have more than one use. If you've got something like a juicer that only has one use, you better be using it a lot. You need things. You don't need to bring a pizza cutter. Get a knife out and cut it with a knife.
Yeah.
No, you don't need. There are things that we are used to having in our homes that, you know, in my house, I bet I had 4 pizza cutters. Did I bring any of them? No. Why? Because I'm going to use a knife.
Yeah.
And just cut the pizza like that. It works. But you really want to think about that because storage space is at a premium. So you really want things that will multitask.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, I'll stop talking now. I'm not talking anymore. Adele, I thought you were already here. Did you leave and now you're coming back? Adele? Adele? I don't know. Okay, so does anybody else have anything to share regarding, you know, putting things in your RV that you need to take with you when you're initially starting out? Go. Okay, see,
I would have no idea where to begin, but I would love to come over to your RV and just start opening cupboards and looking inside to see what you have there and how you have it organized.
That's what I like, the organizing. What, like, how are you just keeping everything from flying around?
When I saw the shoe rack hanging on the inside of the door, it was like, oh man, what an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Because you can have 2 or 3 of them, one in the bedroom for, you know, the stuff that you have in there. She's got one at the door. It's like a mini office with all the ends.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I have one in the bathroom, one in my bedroom, and then one here by the front door. Yeah. And those pockets are just amazing, fun little things.
Did you cut those down?
I'm sorry?
Did you cut those down? I mean, did you use the whole thing, or did you cut them off?
I think I cut one.
The bathroom one is shorter, isn't it?
Yeah, I cut one in half. One is full size, I think. I think the one in here is full size. The bathroom and the bedroom are one full shoe thing cut in half.
You know what? In my sticks and bricks house, I probably have one of those things in every bedroom. And it's funny, in the bathroom, probably like 15 years ago, because I have 2 daughters that use all kinds of hair products and curling irons and brushes and combs. The girls always had one of those in their bathroom, and every pocket had hairspray, gel, brushes, what I call do things, the little scrunchies and stuff. So I've always had those pockets in my bathrooms.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do?
Well, they're a great space.
When you cut them off?
They really are.
Yeah.
When you cut them off, do you fold them over and sew them, or you serge them, or what do you do?
You could probably hot glue them.
RV lady, how did you cut it in half? How did you adjust the bottom half so that you could hang it up? Because the top half's got the hook so you can hang it.
Yeah, and those holes, as dark as they are simply not going to be sufficient for RV life. And what I have done with multiple screws and screwed that in. One at the top, one in the middle, one on the other side, 2 in the middle, 2 or 3 at the bottom. Because when you load those things with items and then drive down the road really fast, those items have a tendency to slap around a lot. And so you need them to be secure. And mine are, you know, I've screwed them to the wall so they don't move. And those holes, you know, they're really great, but they're too big. And so when you're driving down the road and you hit a bump, yeah, and the, you know, whatever you're using to hold it up, it jumps the nail or it jumps the screw or whatever, and it's on the floor. And not necessarily a good thing. Not
You know, the other thing you can do. The other thing you can do when your motorhome has those cupboards that are over your couches, or you know, the short up towards the ceiling cupboards. I bought plastic square bins, and then I slid them in up there so that I can put things in. Otherwise, a lot of times they're not individual cupboards; they're all the way down, and so your stuff sloshes back and forth. So I put the bins in there, and then I can put like ramen noodles or the little 1 ounce potato chip. I can put them all in there and they stay put.
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is come up with a solution that is inexpensive, dollar store inexpensive.
Yeah.
And they have these wire baskets that are there. They're just, you know, they're $1. And there are a couple of them that are kind of shallow in the, and I think that what I can do is Velcro them on the back side, load them up, and then not only that, put one up on top, Velcro it, and put something in between. Because most of the things you're going to buy at, like at Walmart or whatever, at least for me, and I have this 94 Class C, they're either too little or they're too long and they won't go in there. I am also using I call them shoe boxes, the plastic shoe boxes, and I'm using those to keep all of those things together. So yeah, there's got to be a better solution, better use of the space. We'll figure it out, or somebody will.
My battery is dying, so I'm going to have to sign out. I was just looking at the cord and I can't.
I know it's about time to end this anyway.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.
Okay.
Bye. Yeah, it's time to wrap this up anyway. Jammin, you must be like exhausted. You did one all day today, and now you're doing this one. Isn't it nap time yet?
I know, right? I did the earlier one for Soap Travels. Ian wanted to talk about his first week out on the road.
It's exhausting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that's it for this week. I'm going to need a host for next weekend, and it's not that I'm not going to be there to participate, and it's not that I'm going to be on the panel, but I think that it would be nice to have a break from me being host. So if anybody would care to host, just give me just contact me and let me know that you would like to do it, and then we'll exchange the information. And I'll give you, I have like 94 people that I send invites out to, and
Wow.
And we'll see how that all goes. Or maybe
I'm going to pass because it's Father's Day.
Oh, maybe we should cancel altogether. Okay.
So I mean, you guys
maybe
are
we
welcome
should.
to, but I'll probably be busy.
No, I think it's important that Father's Day be honored for their contribution to our lives. So, okay, let's go ahead and cancel for next Sunday because it is
mine
Father's Day.
takes care of the black tank, so.
What about the black tank?
I said, mine takes care of the black tank, so.
Okay, see, they all have their uses and their benefits.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will see you guys in 2 weeks then, or hope to anyway. And have a great week. And of course, I'll be looking at all your videos. Make some videos, you guys, so I can watch them. I miss them. And right now I'm sitting here with like pretty decent Wi-Fi. And when I get out on the road, and you'll all experience this at some point, you're going to get out on the road and say, gee, I wish I could go on YouTube and find out what everybody's doing. But you don't want to give up you either don't have it or you don't want to use your precious time on the Wi-Fi thing. So
Right.
have a great week. Be happy. Be brave.
Thanks
Yeah.
for
Okay.
inviting me.
Bye-bye. Good luck with your roof, and Kay, good luck with your hip.
Thank you very much.
I don't think I ever met
Okay,
New
thank
Beginnings.
you. See you later.